When We Grow Up is a nonprofit organization that exposes children to high-opportunity career paths by bringing speakers from dream careers, doctors, lawyers, software engineers, finance leaders, even celebrities, directly into classrooms to show students how to get there because every child deserves a chance to dream. Today's talk is about the world of finance and investment banking.
The answer to the question I'm about to ask you maybe will change 1 hour from now, but we're going to do it at 3, 2, 1. It doesn't matter who's hearing you. It doesn't matter. Just say what you want to be when you grow up. I don't know is an acceptable answer, but 3, 2, 1. Nice. Nice. Awesome. Okay, great. So let's, why don't we dive in and maybe we'll learn something new. My name's Chris, and I am the founder of a program called When We Grow Up. And essentially what we do is just bring people whatever you just said that you want to be. We have somebody that does exactly that. And we come in and talk to you about A, what that thing really is beyond just what you see on maybe online or TikTok, and also how exactly to get there. And the goal here is the path for you to get to that dream that you have, A, to make it easier, and B, maybe that dream might even change as you're chasing it. So I work in an industry called private equity. Has anybody heard of that? Investment banking, has anyone heard of that? So maybe one person shaking their head. I'm happy to just introduce myself a bit better and share some things that maybe would be interesting to know. So we're going to talk a bit about the world of finance, investment banking, and private equity, and why maybe you might be interested in it. So let's play a little game, and there are prizes, so you might want to lean in here. So who can tell me, who's that? Okay. Very cool. I like that. Okay, hold on, we're not done yet. Don't celebrate before the game's over now. Who's that? Okay. Y'all know a little something. Who's that? Okay. Y'all are online. All right. Prize, if anyone who can get all 4, that's a prize. Who's that? Okay, so we got Obama. Obama is not correct, okay? So that's fine. Look, hold on. Simmer down now. Don't worry. There's still a chance to get the prize, even if you didn't get all 4. So maybe you can tell me, who do you think is most famous in this picture? And who do you think is, it's an easy answer. Who do you think is richest? So, all right, wait, hold on. Raise your hand if you think it's LeBron James. Yeah, raise your hand if you think it's Drake. Raise your hand if you think it's Speed. And raise your hand if you think it's this guy. Okay, very interesting. So let's look at it and let's see how that changes. So along their career, who's made the most money? In final place, who do we think it is? Say the name of who you think we're... Okay, that's right. If you said Speed, that's correct. And next, we got Drake. Next, we got LeBron James. And next, we have Robert F. Smith. That is not Barack Obama. That is a gentleman named Robert F. Smith, who is one of the pioneers in an industry called private equity. He started off as an investment banker. And I think there's something so powerful that we all just learned right now. At the very beginning, I asked you all, hey, who are these people? You knew all except this, right? But then when we look at this, right, they're not always, the world is who I mean when I say they, the world isn't always going to tell you the most powerful things that you need to know. So the first thing I want to show you is that knowledge is something that you take into your own hands. You listen in school, you listen to your teachers, but on top of that, how can you look out into the world to find the hidden keys? Because this is something that none of us ever knew. We thought this was Barack Obama, right? So the question that a lot of us are thinking, the room literally just went silent. How the heck did he do it, right? How did this guy make more money 10 times more money. Add all of these guys together and you're still looking at 5, 6, 7 times more money than all these guys. How did he do it, right? Investment banking and private equity. So what is it, right? Raise your hand if you like Skittles. Okay, that's enough. Well, I don't know. When I was a kid, I liked candy. I got Skittles for the people that lean in the most. So maybe there will be some Skittles on the table. But I want to think about this. So if you want Skittles, you got to really lean in on this part. This is probably one of the most interesting slides in this entire presentation, right? So I'm going to tell you very quickly what is investment banking, what is private equity, right? So imagine yourself, it's after school, you're walking outside, you stop by the corner store, and what do you see? One pack of Skittles left on the shelf. You're like, oh yeah. So that's exactly what happened to our friend here, Ethan. Ethan got a pack of Skittles for $2, $3, something like that. It was the last one on the shelf. Ethan's feeling pretty good, isn't he? But somewhere down the street, Alex came in just 5 minutes after. She really wanted some Skittles. It's her favorite candy. Ethan kind of likes Skittles. They just ran out of Starburst, so he got it for $3. But Alex loves Skittles. She buys it from Ethan for $10, right? So now what happens? Everybody is happy. Ethan made $10. He only spent $3. Alex got Skittles, and both are happy. Right? Isn't that great? But hold on. I got a secret to tell you. What if I told you that Ethan was actually dead broke? He didn't have $3. How did he get the Skittles? No. So now that is an instinct we're going to change. When there's different ways, so negotiate. Can you say that louder? Let everybody hear. No, project it. That's a great answer. Let's hear it. Negotiate. So that is a very important skill. So I want to pause and double click on that. Everybody's first instinct was to think, well, if he didn't have the $3, of course, he stole it. But there's many different ways to get a hold of the things in life that you want without using that, right? So you can negotiate. Another interesting concept that an entire industry was built on, I want to introduce you to two people that helped out behind the scenes. Meet Marco. Marco's the kid in the class. He's one of the most friendly kids. He happened to have $3 on him. He lent it to Ethan. He said, hey, pay me back later, buddy, right? And Alex was actually in the corner crying because she was like, oh, I want some Skittles so bad. Where's the Skittles? There's no Skittles left. And Marissa says, Alex, you gotta meet Ethan. Ethan just got some Skittles, and Marco lent Ethan the $3, right? So you might be thinking, where is all of this going? How does this connect to what we just talked to? This concept is literally a job, right? Ethan got the $10, shared some of it with Marco. Marco's happy. Alex paid Marissa $2 for introducing her to Ethan. Marissa is now happy. Alex got Skittles. Ethan made some money, shared it with Marco. Alex gave Marissa some money for the help. Everybody is happy. Now, think about what we just did with Skittles. What if I told you that people do this with companies all the time, right? From TikTok, maybe you've seen some of the news. In the news right now, people are talking about doing this with TikTok. What if I told you, so I like it. I like that you see some companies that you know. What if I told you that people have been doing this exact thing with companies for decades and decades, centuries, some might say, with many companies that you know? Raise your hand if you have Instagram or use Instagram. Did you know that Instagram was bought in 2012 by Facebook? Raise your hand if you knew that. Excellent. Raise your hand if you play Minecraft or have played Minecraft. Did you know that Microsoft bought it for $2.5 billion in 2014? So this is an industry called mergers and acquisitions. Merge is two companies becoming one. Acquisition is a big company buying a small company. And this is the industry that made Robert F. Smith richer than Speed, LeBron, and Drake, while you don't even know who he is. So investment banking, private equity. Private equity, very simple. You find good companies to buy, and you buy them. You make the companies better, and then you sell them to someone else who wants it more. Just like our friend Ethan found the Skittles and sold it to Alex because she wanted it more. Everybody was happy. Investment banking is when you get paid to give people advice, right, on doing exactly that. Just like our friend Marissa, right, who gave advice to Alex and introduced Alex to Ethan. And just like our friend Marco, you can also get paid to lend people money when they don't have it so they can go buy companies or do deals, buy apartments, whatever the case may be, and then they'll pay you back later. This is an entire industry, investment banking, giving advice, introductions, and lending money, private equity, finding good things to buy, and then giving it later to someone else who wants it more. So I want to just do a better job introducing myself. I'm going to tell you a little secret about me that you're going to be like, yeah, no way. I started my career as a rapper. I've been on tours. I've done shows around both the country and the world. I've done shows with Young Gravy. I'm good friends with Bobby Shmurda. It looks like we have a question right here. So I rapped under the name Travis Carter. My hair, I dyed it blonde at one point. It used to be even blonder. So my point here, I rocked the diamond chains. I was doing everything. Now think about this, right? Standing here in front of you, in this light blue suit, look like a cartoon character, right? My journey saw me go from a rapper on stage in front of thousands of people. Today, I do the same thing Robert F. Smith does. I've done more than $100 billion in deals with companies that you might know, DirecTV, Roblox, Warner Music Group, Meta, right? So I know there's a lot of questions. Yeah, Uber as well. So I worked on a transaction when I was an intern, right? So we'll get any question that you might have. Just hold on to it. We're going to get to it at the end. This is the last. I'll take this last question, then we'll have a Q&A at the end. What's your question? Yeah, so when I was at Warner Music Group and I was still in college, I kind of networked my way, and we'll talk about that, but I got a full-time opportunity at Warner Music Group, and one of the things that we did was a deal with Roblox to put 21 Pilots, the famous artist, and David Guetta, the famous artist, into a virtual concert in Roblox. Just like you might remember Travis Scott did that in Fortnite. Another deal I did was the deal that set up the agreement between Warner Music Group and Instagram, Facebook, that allowed music to be in stories. So as we continue on, I want to just talk about here's how I got here. I think when you're sitting in class, it's very easy to forget why. Like, okay, what's the point? My teachers are telling me ABC. Where does that lead? I am here. Evan is here. Evan has an incredible story you're going to hear from. We are the direct embodiment of what that leads to, right? So the way that I got here was when I was sitting in your shoes, one of the biggest things I did was I set goals. I studied hard, I listened in class, and I looked forward to things. I looked forward to high school, I looked forward to college, because I could kind of see when you look at the people like the Robert F. Smiths of the world, and think about it, you didn't even know who he was. Think about how many Robert F. Smiths there are in the world that you could aspire to become, but you just don't know who they are. All of that information is available to you. So then in college, I did this thing called an internship. Does anyone know raise your hand if you know what an internship is. So did you know that in the same way that you are in class right now learning, someone would pay you to learn? So that is how I got my position at Warner Music Group that allowed me to do the Roblox deal and all this stuff. We'll get to that. So I reached out to a bunch of people at Warner Music Group over and over and said, hey, let me please do an internship with you guys. Eventually someone responded, and that's how my career got started. So when you're in school over summers, maybe fall break, you can go to, whether it's a law firm, or I know there's someone that said they wanted to be an astrophysicist. If you Google astrophysicists in San Francisco or Oakland and send one of them a cold email, can we chat for 15 minutes? I would just love to hear more about what you do. They would be so happy to respond. All you have to do is take that step. When you get to high school, there are programs called SEO and MLT that actually help, kids from all sorts of backgrounds gain access to these types of prestigious, institutions, such that one day you could even buy Roblox for yourself. And so as we continue, where this led to me is a job offer. So my final thing before I toss it to Evan, I want to just share the 4 key steps that I would always keep in mind every single day you wake up, because you should look at this screen and you should see yourself not only here, and not only there, but also here. So LeBron says, set goals. Always set a goal, have a goal you're chasing. It can be a big goal, a small goal. When you wake up in the morning, here's what I would love to do today. If it doesn't happen, no problem. If you fail at a goal, that means you set a goal big enough, so you should be happy. Chase it again the next day. If your goal changes, great, means your mind is evolving. Set goals, work hard, listen in class. Maybe usually that sounds like lame advice, but hopefully when you look at my story, you're able to see the result of doing that. This is the type of thing that it leads to. Next, get excited about things. There's a lot of studies that show that, frankly, even your body, everything in your chemistry reacts positively when you're excited about something. There was a study done on old people, right? When they were looking forward to their great-granddaughter's graduation, or they were looking forward to their birthday, they literally outlived their life expectancy waiting on a specific date. Remember, get excited about things. And finally, avoid trouble and drama. Future billionaires don't fight. When you think about the skills, right, and the tools in your toolkit, when I asked you, right, hey, how did Ethan get that if he didn't have $3? Everyone said, he stole it. Well, what I'm here to tell you is that there are so many more tools in your toolkit. The future people like this on this slide, you use your words, not your fists. And so I think that is such a key thing to take away. Whenever you're thinking about solving a problem, the first tool that you have is your brain and your words. So the final thing that I would lead you with is the 3 truths to remember. I've told you a bunch of things, and maybe some people are excited, maybe some people are like, man, this guy's lame, this isn't for me. But here's what I'll tell you. You are smart enough. Because there are people that are not smart at all that have made it into this industry and crushed it. There are people that are very, very, very smart, have made it into similar industries and failed. The difference between you and where you want to go is hard work. Your efforts will pay off. If you just put in the effort, you're not always going to see immediate results. But it's one of those things like if you play a sport or if you're lifting weights, you'll lift and lift, and then one day suddenly the weight will feel lighter. Just keep working hard and believing in yourself. And finally, you deserve this just as much as anyone that you've seen on this slide, just as much as any kid that you think might have it better than you, whether they're in a different city at a different school. You deserve it just as much as them. And the difference between you and them is the work that you'll put in. So I'm going to pass it to Evan, and then at the end, we'll have some Q&A. I'm sure there's a bunch of questions. Thank you for listening to my portion.